And I always knew that I was good at graphic design, but I wasn't great about it. It wasn't one of those, like, I wasn't great at it. It wasn't one of those things I woke up and I was like, I cannot wait to design and get an illustrator. I would always like to be the person that was like critiquing the designs or trying to see how it all fit into the bigger picture. And I knew there were other people that are a lot better at it than I was. And I realized, you talk about like finding your passion, right? You sort of audit the things you really enjoy doing. I realized that I got lost in marketing. I loved it. I wanted to be able to market businesses. I wanted to understand the nuances. I wanted to be able to grow businesses. And that's when I made the pivot to really say, like, okay, yes, I did.
You are tuned in to the Money Script Podcast. Today we will share strategies to help you grow your financial literacy and improve your money script. I'll be back with some important announcements. Until then, enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the Money Script Podcast. It's your host, Johannes Harrison. So excited to be with each and every one of you today. I have a new friend here with us today. We have Lauren Hong. She is the founder of Out and About Communications. So we're going to be talking about starting a business and some of the trials and tribulations that she's overcome to get her to where she is today, including a short stint in South Korea. I was reading it. I saw that said South Carolina. I just assumed my brain went Carolina, but she helped me out, said it was Korea. I was like, okay, I just totally made that up. So excited to hear about that. But before we dive in, let's just talk a little bit about what's going on in the world. I don't know when you're hearing this, but I like to share these current events with you because they're going to be current again. I'm not going to share anything with you that's not going to probably happen again. Okay. And the current event right now is the stock market is taking a breather. And as a matter of fact, whenever you're listening to this, this is probably true because the stock market actually likes to take a lot of breathers. It's actually, you can go and do the research on it, or actually ask ChatGPT. It'll do the research for you. But I did this the other day. I was just curious. I asked ChatGPT how many times out of the last 1,000 trading days. So trading days means the market's open for people to trade. How many times out of the last 1,000 trading days did the stock market fall? Stock market being the S&P 500 is what I was using as a barometer. How many times did it go down by 3% or more? Okay, 1,000 trading days. So 1,000 trading days, by the way, is about 250 trading days a year. So we're talking about over the last 4 years. How many times did it happen? You'd be shocked to know it happened 20 times. 20 out of 1,000.
Wow.
20. But guess what? Every time one of those 20 days happens, the news has a field day. They'll say such and such company lost $800 billion worth of equity in 2 days. I mean, did they though? They don't really like to talk about how the fact it probably went up by 800 billion over the last week, because we all know when it comes with news, and I'm sure Lauren knows about this a lot, being in communication, unfortunately, if it bleeds, it leads. The stock market, when it goes up, we show it in green. When it goes down, we show it in red, like blood. So they're saying it's the worst week we've had since 2023. Next week will be another statistic. Are we on the verge of a recession? Probably. We could be. As I talked about last week, the market goes in cycles, and this is just part of the cycles. Get used to it. Think more about your long-term outlook. Never make short-term decisions with long-term money, and never make long-term investments with short-term needs. Okay? And if you can follow that simple rule, you won't get all freaked out because the market went down by 3%. By the way, today wasn't one of those 3% days. It was a 2%er, I think. Or maybe 2% for the week. I don't know. Again, I'm a financial advisor. I don't pay that much attention to it because what happened today doesn't really matter. So let's talk about what does matter. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Indeed. Happy to have you as well. So you are the founder of Out and About Communications. I think that has something to do with, like, I don't know, PR or something?
Yeah,
Or
we do a little bit of PR, not a
okay.
ton. Outsourced marketing, basically. So we work
Ah,
with financial services companies exclusively as like their outsourced marketing team. It's kind of the easiest way to sum it up.
okay. Okay. So outsource. Right? So I'm a financial services company. I don't
Yeah.
know if I fit your size and scale, but I am one. Share with me a little bit about how you would fit as a company to do some B2B with.
Yeah, totally. So As you know, it happens when companies they start to grow and they get to a place of you got to scale, right? So there's a lot of outsourced
Yes.
different providers. So we fit that need in the market where either you're not quite ready to hire a full-time employee or you don't want to try to hire an employee that's like a unicorn that can kind of like maybe not really do everything. So we're kind of that need to fit the market to help firms then to be able to scale up or if you're already a firm that's got in-house support, a lot of times they need more arms and legs support for just strategy thinking, execution of implementation, those kinds of things. So we're that marketing shop model where everybody's aces in their places. We don't really hire on that kind of generalist model. So you basically get the whole package, but it's really built for that that wants to outsource it all. So
Okay. All right. So I think you are speaking my language. So we are a team of five.
nice,
I'm the
yeah.
advisor. My wife is a unicorn. Um, so she was the first hire
Mhm.
and it was like, hey, do everything that I don't
Awesome.
have time to. So she
Yeah,
was my unicorn, but she was also a unicorn that said, no, I'm going to hire someone else.
totally.
And she's hired other individuals, and so we have a service person, I have a paraplanner, and then I have my executive assistant, and then it's my wife and myself.
That's
So,
awesome.
and we are in that. So we were in rapid growth mode, I would say. So I started in 2017,
Mhm.
and let's see, 2017, 2018, 2019, we moved to no, 2018 we moved to Texas from California,
Yeah.
and that's really when the rapid growth, it was kind of just foundational for the first year. Rapid growth happened, COVID happened,
Oh, man.
and we
Yeah.
started as an online business. So it was like,
Here
yeah,
we go.
okay,
Riding
guess
this
I work
wave.
from home, which I've been doing anyways. We'll just keep doing it. Um, and we have a very strong referral marketing presence. So a lot of our
That's great.
clients, or all of our clients, come from referrals of our existing clients. And
Mhm.
we've actually reached a point where I am thinking more about scale,
Mhm.
um, really focusing on my niche, which is people in the medical profession.
Oh,
Just
cool.
because I've
Yeah.
gotten to the point where I've kind of grown. I don't want to say too big. I don't ever want to believe that, but it is to the point where I have to be very selective about who I'm going to choose to invest time and energy into, because
Mhm.
it's not about the money anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're,
Yeah.
we're, we're fine. Enough revenue is being generated, but okay, how can we take the company to the next level and be able to fully support our
Mhm.
clients with all the things that they need from us, and have space to bring on new clients, but specifically in that niche. So
Mhm.
we have been talking about outsourcing our HR
Mhm.
capabilities,
Yep.
because we've been doing a lot of that in house, and being an online company, work from home employees, we got all these different states we got to deal with.
I get it. So
Um,
much paperwork. I know. I was on the phone dealing with some of that earlier today.
oh man,
Tax
it's
trail
so
it all.
much. It's so much, and we get a letter from a state like every week. It's like, this state wants this, and this state wants this. I'm like,
Yep.
can't y'all just get along? But anyways,
I know. Yeah.
so no, I can relate. I can relate a lot. So how did you come about founding your firm out and about? Where did out and
Oh
about
my goodness. Well,
come
first I
out?
want to give a shout out to your wife. I watched or listened to your second podcast there. So I think that's the one that she was on. So
It's the most
yay.
listened to podcast for some
Oh, no
reason.
way! It was right up
Maybe.
at the top, and I was like, "Let me just click play." She's got such a great story and everything, so just shout out to that
Oh,
podcast that
thank
you've
you.
got with her. And congrats to you guys for growing the business to where you are today and everything. It's a lot easier said than done. And I was talking to somebody yesterday about just the importance of being able to just stop and reflect for where you've been to where you are today, and we don't always like appreciate that journey. So super
True.
awesome to hear your guys'
Thank
growth.
you.
But your question, right, it was like, how do we kind of get going and all of
Yeah.
that?
How did you, and why financial
Yeah,
services firms?
my journey's kind of wild. My background's in graphic design, but life after college took me to South Korea. I did a Fulbright grant there, and then I worked at the U.S. Embassy in their public affairs division. I
Oh,
planned to be there for a year. I was there for almost 3. I also got my master's in international studies. I have some family in Hong Kong, so I bounced over there. I spent quite a bit of time over there. Life took me to DC. I worked at a smaller agency, Boston, and then eventually myself and my husband we made our way to San Diego and really got this going like knowing no one. And so it was like totally like hit the ground, building relationships, starting to build a portfolio. And now we're almost a dozen years in the business. It started just as me, like literally like bootstrapping, very intentional growth. We didn't go after any, outside capital or anything like that. So you fast forward to today, we're a team of about 30 folks. We're spread across the country as a
Wow.
whole. And we service exclusively financial services companies across the nation, all US. We don't have any in Canada, although we've worked with companies that are US based with overseas agendas. And we're probably 75% right now of our active client base is in the wealth management RIA space. So we really know that community. We also work with companies that are adjacent to the financial services space. So those are like companies that service them in a variety of capacities. So that's us. And it's been a journey like any business. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
So what was the genesis of starting this marketing and communications and you know firm, like how did you land on that? How did you shift from design and international
yeah,
studies to
to
this?
this. Um, so I always had this kind of like lingering message in the back of my mind. My dad, who's a journalist, he would always tell me, like entrepreneurship is the way to go. Like there's just so many opportunities. You can kind of control your life and that sort of thing. So I have this like kind of like this in the back of my head, right? And I always knew that I was good at graphic design, but I wasn't great about it. It wasn't one of those like I wasn't great at it. It wasn't one of those things I woke up and I was like, I cannot wait to design and get an illustrator. I would always like to be the person that was like critiquing the designs or trying to see how it all fit into the bigger picture. And I knew there were other people that are a lot better at it than I was. And I realized, you like we talk about like finding your passion, right? You sort of audit the things you really enjoy doing. I realized that I got lost in marketing. Like I loved it. I wanted to be able to market businesses. I wanted to understand the nuances. I wanted to be able to grow businesses. And that's when I made the pivot to really say, like, okay, yes, I did in transparency start as a freelance graphic designer, but then I started to put lines in the sand that said, okay, this isn't for me and this isn't my strength, so let's bring somebody else on. And then I slowly brought on more people and then the team grew from there, and then eventually those stepping stones helped to get us to where we are today, where I'm much more in like a business development seat, managing those relationships. And then the team is really orchestrating all the different parts and components for our clients.
So how did you decide to lean into financial services firms? And before you answer, um, the reason I ask this question is because I know a lot of our listeners are business owners, and typically, as a business owner, I know I dealt with this myself. I kind of shared this with you a little bit already. Um, we tend to be a generalist,
Mm,
serving the needs of whoever wants their needs served,
mm,
and it is very difficult to grow as a generalist. Very difficult to scale. And any business book you read, I've got dozens of them behind me. Every single one of them will say something about finding a niche market, or just finding a
yeah,
key customer that you can focus on, that you can get really good at servicing their needs and
right.
becoming more like an expert in the community. So yes, listeners, you heard me say it within those books. So now we're going to hear Lauren talk about how she made that decision and that pivot to financial services companies. Or was it always financial services companies?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I think probably like most businesses where you get going, you don't totally know who you're going to service. You just know that you have an opportunity in the market and you want to make sure that it's desirable by, like people are going to buy the services, right? So what happened, it was probably like year two in the business is we closed a deal with wealth management firm local to San Diego, and we just did a really good job. And I as we were going through the process, I realized that this is a industry, financial services in general, that sometimes has like more of just a buttoned up, very safe look. Um, and has a challenge to like, yeah, just like break through, right?
Yes.
And is
Oh,
it like,
my
yeah,
hair is a prime example. Okay, I
but like,
already know there's not a lot of black advisors. There's not a lot of
yeah,
female advisors. That's
yeah,
true. But to find a black advisor that also has dreadlocks with long hair, there might
just
be
to
five
be
of us.
you, like
There
human.
might, yeah. Hmm.
And I think add some like there's a balance, right? Of like you don't want to be like too out there, like just at least from a brand aesthetic. And this would probably be true for any type of business, but you want to be able to stand out. So someone that's a like creative background, I saw this as honestly as a really big challenge. It was kind of like when I went to South Korea for the first time. I didn't know anything about Korea. I had to just jump into the deep end. I had to figure it out. And that's kind of what I felt about the financial services space. It was all new to me. I was like, okay, I'm jumping in, but I saw this as an opportunity to really be like deeply challenged and just constantly see new opportunities to be challenged to really help these firms kind of pull out those nuances so that they could be different and stand out in the market. And that to me was really, really exciting. And so what happened with this firm that we did a really great job with is then it started to like kind of catch fire. So then,
Mm,
somebody else heard about it and then it kind of just kind of grew from there by word of mouth. And then we started to hire and train and build processes all around financial services. And I don't know, it might have been like year 5 that we got in and we're like kind of looked around and we're like, oh, like a lot of our clients are in financial services. It's kind of been intentional and kind of not. And we're like, but we're actually really good at it. And we should just focus on it. And so that's what we decided to do. And that's, I think, as someone that honestly, in the beginning, I felt like that journalist. Like when I came here and I got this started in the beginning, I was just going to everything under the sun, trying to figure it out. And I realized like when I really focus my energy both on my target, my time, our processes, how we hire, it's just that much richer, not only for our team, but also for the end client because they're working with a team that really gets them. So that's how it came
absolutely.
about.
Very similar for us. Looked up one day and I was like, wait, I have a lot of physicians.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm really good at working with physicians and understanding the nuances of what physicians go through, the delayed
Right.
gratification of waiting 10, 11, 12 years before they really get a paycheck and then they get it
Yeah.
and it's huge. And all that delayed gratification wants to come out. It's like, let's go buy a Tesla, let's go buy a house, let's go take a
Totally.
trip around the world. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's
Yep.
take a look at your student loan balance. Can we
Yep.
start there? So I get
It's
it. I
real.
get it. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
Well, I mean,
So,
go ahead.
no, 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 you please.
No, I was gonna say hats off to you. In talking to a lot of firms, I think sometimes, especially firms where it's like the second generation where they're taking over the leadership of, the founder or what have you, second, third generation. I often see just leadership honestly afraid and not comfortable to be able to say, like, we're going to go after this audience and being able to make that kind of like umbrella like play call for the firm at wide. So and to be able to identify that and put effort behind it is pretty awesome.
No,
So
I was terrified. No, let me. So, Lauren, I know I'm speaking the big game right now, but let me
yeah.
tell you how tough it's been. We just submitted to our web designer to change our website to
Yep.
say to the world, we specialize in working with physicians.
Yep.
Because there was still a part of me that even though that's what my inner circle knew, that's what
Mhm.
my clients knew, and so they knew to refer me people. I mean, they would still refer me.
Yeah.
They'll say, can you work with this person? I know they're not a physician, and as long as it's the right quality of individual, like sure, they came from you, you're the physician, that's fine. I'm happy to work with them. But to hang your billboard or shingle, whatever they say, to say no, this is who we are and this is what we stand for, I was terrified to do it.
Totally.
Terrified. But again, as I mentioned earlier, I was reaching these, as they call, ceilings of complexity. I'm just like, look, I can't continue to just let anybody that stumbles across my website on Google
Yep.
take a meeting with me. I've got to scare some of those people away. And
Mhm.
not that
Mhm.
I don't want to help them. It's just I can't. I
They
can't
might be a better
be
fit for someone else, and that's totally
exactly. And I
great,
can't be
like
everything to everyone, but
that's
I
right.
can be a lot to someone.
Yep.
So yeah, so that change was just submitted. I just approved the type
Awesome.
today. And I
Yeah.
said, change it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Kitsis's
So
team has some really good articles and podcasts on that, and then, just
yes,
shout out, Kristen Luke. She's the On Niche program. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but she does a great
yes.
job, yeah, of helping firms, like, really narrow their target. And that courage and that firm unity to be able to say, "This is who we're gonna get behind," it creates brand clarity, and frankly, for, like, our end, as folks that are looking to really turn up the volume, that really helps going into that because we're just aligned with like what we're trying to do, who we're going after, so on and so forth.
Yes,
So,
yes, indeed.
yeah.
Yes, indeed. And I'll take this moment to shout out one of my favorite people. You mentioned Kitsis, but also Carl Richards. I don't know if you're familiar
Oh,
with
he's
Carl
so
Richards.
good. Ah,
So
yes.
Carl said some things one day that resonated deep in my soul, and I've been repeating it ever since. And this is for all of you financial advisors. I know you're listening, and I'm gonna see a few of you next week when I go speak. We got conferences coming up, so we have the Nitrogen's Fearless
Oh,
Conference in
yeah. Yep.
Tennessee. Um,
XYPN's coming up, I think. There's a
yeah,
bunch
and the
of
other one, the outdoor one in Huntington Beach,
Oh, yeah, Future Proof. Yeah,
Future
that's
Proof.
coming
So
up
going to
too.
that too. So I'm speaking at
Mhm.
Future Proof as well. Looking forward to that.
Awesome. Love it.
But for those of you advisors that hear this, I'm going to say it. I didn't make it up. I got it from Carl, but I stand by it. And Lauren, I'm sure you can agree. If you have a website with a sailboat, a beach, a happy old couple that you've never met holding hands, staring off into the distance, your website is trash. That is
Yeah,
to get rid of that. You, whoever you are, financial, not this is not financial advisors, anybody that's doing any service-based business and you're marketing to the world and you have a website, you are who we want to see. You
yeah.
are the product. Display the product.
It's
If
so
that
true.
means you got to go get a haircut, put on maybe a little bit of makeup and hire a photographer to take some glamour shots of you so
It's
your
true.
photo can go.
Do it.
Stop.
Invest.
I see so many websites. I know the what do you call them? The stock photos. It's
Yeah,
like I know it's the same 8 people in all the stock
I
photos.
know.
I'm
I
like,
know.
wow, this guy is everywhere, especially the black guy, because it's one black guy in all the stock photos. Like, oh, there he is again.
Oh, man.
Come
It's
on,
true, and like,
you are
that's part of it. Like, we see so much data on the back end, and everybody who goes to the bio pages, like, homepage, obviously, right? But then
yes,
bio pages, people are like, "Who am I gonna work with?" Because 'Cause you're part of the differentiator, right? Like, they're gonna wanna know, like, "Okay, do you get me?" And that's part of, like, okay, so if you work with doctors, like, "Do you get me?" Right? But then it's like, "Who am I gonna work with?" Because this is not like a you're not selling shoes, right? Like,
exactly.
this is like human to human stuff, and it's emotional, and it requires a lot of trust. They want to know who they're going to talk with, and is this person relatable, right? So yeah, totally, like it is about human to human
Yeah,
pieces as
when I
much as
when I heard, so I did have some photos of me on the website before I went to that event with Carl,
yeah.
and when he said it, I put my foot down. I told my team, no stock photos ever get on the website,
Hmm.
not one. It's like we do enough events. We always have photographers there.
Oh yeah, if you've got
All
enough
the
to work
photos are
with,
going to be
that's always
us.
better. I mean, there is a place for stock photos, especially if you're growing and you're at a certain size. It gets complicated with HR regulations and this and that. But if you can have those real photos, that's always ideal, right? Because it's about the connection and who you're working with. And again, that's part of the differentiator. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
So I want to transition a bit. And talk about something that's really near and dear to our hearts here at the Money Script.
Yeah.
And that is understanding individuals' money scripts. And the way we view money scripts, it's the first introductions and
Mhm,
memories that you have to money. So something we
mhm.
ask all of our guests is if you take a few minutes and share with us what your first memory of money is.
Oh my gosh. The first thing that comes to mind is I used to babysit all the time. Like, as a kid growing up, that was what I would do all the summers, and I would just and I have, like, big things that I would wanna save for or whatever, but that was, like I mean, I would babysit, I worked at, like, it was like a fragrance like, I don't know, like, they had lotion and all that kinda stuff. I think that, those experiences and having to earn money, save, have goals to plan for, being able to manage it, like, actually being able to like, work a scheduler on it, those are some of, like, my first kind of personal, I guess, money memories of just that. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I'd babysat all the freaking time, so that was what I was
Well,
doing.
you're lucky. You actually got paid for babysitting. I was always babysitting my younger sisters, and I was told I could not get
Yeah,
paid to babysit blood. That's was what
yeah,
my father would tell me. You don't get paid to babysit your blood. And I'm like,
that's fair,
what?
that's fair. Like,
I'm
"What?"
like, Then why don't you babysit then? He's like, you don't babysit your own kids either. I'm like, huh?
Yeah,
Okay, but they're not mine. They're your sisters. Okay, fine.
yeah.
So I did not have the joy of getting any babysitting money from them.
Ugh,
So, but
yeah,
that is always I do recall um, paying babysitters a lot for my
yes.
son. I had to do
Oh my
that
gosh.
because I was a single dad, so I had to find a babysitter to help with him transition. Right now, our daughter. So we're fortunate to have our mother-in-law that lives with us.
Oh,
So
that's
she
helpful.
becomes the de facto babysitter.
Yeah.
But when she's not available, I do have my sister. So she has to now pay me back for all the years of me
All the
babysitting her.
years, it's balancing out now. It's
And
real.
and and actually next week while we're future proof,
Yep.
sis, you're
You
up.
help them
Look,
out.
You'll probably hear this after Future Proof. But yes, you were up. We planned it that way. And no, we're
Yes.
not going to pay you. Give you a little spending money for her. But no,
That's
we're not going to
right.
pay you. Don't
Oh
pay you
my
to babysit
gosh.
blood. So,
Good
well,
family.
well, Lauren, we appreciate you spending some time with us on the Money Script podcast. For those that want to learn more about you and your company, how can they get in touch?
Yeah, just outandaboutcommunications.com is our website. We've got a ton of content out there. Our LinkedIn page is hopping. We're posting a lot too. So that'd be the place to check out.
Beautiful, beautiful. So again, just to quickly recap here, if you're making your life's decisions based on how the market performed today or yesterday, you're just going to drive yourself crazy. Let it go. Work with a knowledgeable advisor that can help you separate your feelings and emotions from the day-to-day realms of the stock market. And also take a look at your goals and how you're doing things to get a little bit more educated. And just know that, hey, over the last 1,000 trading days, it happened 20 times. So it's probably going to happen another 20 times over the next 1,000 trading days. That's just part of investing in the market. And as Lauren shared, and as I shared as well, for those of you that are business owners, you are not alone. Okay, seek the help, seek the assistance and the knowledge of other industry leaders that are able to help you build and scale your business. As a matter of fact, as soon as I stop hitting record on this, Lauren and I are going to have a conversation about what her company may be able to do for Money Script Wealth. Who knew that that's where this would end up? Lauren did. That's why she scheduled it. She was like, podcast with a financial services company? Yes, sign me up.
No.
So, but again, if you are a financial services company, Lauren's information is below. If you're looking to get to scale and figure out how you can better niche and get rid of the sailboats and old people you don't know walking across the sand on the cover of your website, I'm sure Lauren has some tips for you as well. So until next time on the Money Script podcast, do us all a favor. What do you call it? Like, subscribe, follow, share, 5 stars, do all that fun stuff, because that just helps get the word out to more people. And we'll see you next time. Take care.
I'm back. Wasn't that a great show? I hope you learned something. I know I did. Now, before you go trying anything you heard today, remember it is not intended to be specific tax or legal advice. If you need that, go see a CPA or an attorney. If you would like any complimentary consultation with a knowledgeable advisor, visit moneyscript.com and schedule a 15-minute consultation. Want Johans to come speak at your next event? Go to the Money Script website for that too. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. Money Script Wealth Management is a registered financial advisory service in multiple states. Want to learn more? Get the full disclosure on our website, moneyscript.com.